Once someone with dismissive avoidant attachment has deactivated inside of their romantic relationship, their thoughts are almost always the same. Here's what they are. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment for nearly 20 years. One of my favorite things to do is really freak out my DA clients by predicting their thoughts. I say, I bet I can predict what your thoughts are. And they're like, really? And I say, yes. And I tell them, and they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Okay. And it's not because I have psychic abilities. It's not. It's just because I've been studying attachment for so long, and the DA is the most consistent of all the attachment styles. They have the least amount of variability in their thoughts, emotions, and their behavior. So what are their deactivating thoughts? And these thoughts for the DA are so powerful because you have to remember they're working very hard to suppress their emotions and intellectualize everything. They're trying to stay up in their head. So their thoughts are so powerful when they start to pull away, or what we call deactivate, inside of a relationship. So the thoughts are generally, I don't like XYZ about the person, and oftentimes they're small things that could totally be worked through with a minimal amount of effort, but the DA is magnifying them in terms of incompatibility way greater than they should be. They think, I just can't meet this person's needs. They want too much. When really it's often their partner's not wanting too much, they're just giving way too little, right? And they don't realize it. Their thoughts are often like, oh, here we go again when it's conflict. They are really overwhelmed by conflict. They're annoyed by conflict. They're frustrated by conflict. They often see a lot of conflicts as pointless and silly, like they are, their partner is making a mountain out of a molehill, for example. They often think, oh, okay, well, maybe you should just find somebody else that can meet your needs. So they often think, I'm just not the person for them. They want too much, and I'm not the person that can give them their big needs that they want. Now, sometimes that is the case. Oftentimes, it's the case that we have someone with attachment anxiety who's with the dismissive avoidant, and it is the combination of the person with anxiety wanting and needing too much and the person with avoidance not giving nearly enough. And so we have a big gap going on. However, the dismissive avoidant is very convinced by these thoughts. Oftentimes, they will even start doing something you wouldn't believe. A lot of times they'll start fantasizing about their ex at this point when they've started to pull away from the relationship. And that serves two purposes. One, fantasizing about their ex pulls them away from you as the partner emotionally. So it's another way to distance. It's just another subconscious psychological way to put a distance in between the intimacy between them and their current partner. And number two, it just sort of convinces them that they are in fact incompatible with current partner. It's like the thoughts are usually like, well, my ex wouldn't have made me feel this way, or things were so much better with my ex. And because the person that they are currently with, whomever that is the person that activates their wounds and their fears, it doesn't matter who they're with. Those wounds and fears are going to rise. But when that person goes away, guess what? Wounds and fears drop down. So now that the ex is not attached to them, the feelings for the ex are actually allowed to come up again because they're not being pushed down by their wounds around commitment and expectation being, jacked up there because the person is asking for intimacy. So stepping into secure attachment, especially for the dismissive avoidant, starts with one, recognizing patterns, and two, using the tools and strategies to overcome their deactivating thoughts. And that's what I teach people to do in my hybrid coaching group. If that is interesting to you, you can reach out to me at my website, thedatingdecoder.com, and click on book group.